By the beginning of the 1920s, the United States of America was already the world's largest industrial power. Here in the northeastern states, people earned their living from iron and steel. Warren Harding became president in 1920. He promised to put America first. In spite of prohibition, for many Americans, the good times were beginning. The country already had more cars than the rest of the world put together, and the motor car came to be the symbol of fast-growing industry.
Throughout the early 1900s, Henry Ford developed and refined the assembly line method. Ford's automobile factories could produce vehicles more efficiently and cheaper than ever before. Using the assembly line method, workers would perform one task on each automobile, and then it would move down the line to the next worker who would complete a different task.
Henry Ford's Detroit factories, with their acres of assembly lines, poured out Model T Fords at the astonishing rate of 1 every 3 minutes. The motor car industry was by far the largest in the country, and it stimulated other trades too: rubber, glass, steel.
This type of mass production allowed the average price of an automobile to drop from $850 to $250. Ford's methods were quickly adopted by other industries. Skilled laborers were no longer needed to assemble finished products. Instead, it was only necessary to train an unskilled laborer how to do one simple task. Suddenly, factories were churning out countless numbers of products that were once deemed luxury items. Now that these products could be produced in such large quantities, they became affordable to the average person. More factory jobs meant more workers as well. Not only were more people being employed, but they were also receiving good wages. The average worker's wage rose by 20% during the 1920s.
The 20s were the years of growth and boom in all consumer industries. This was the era of mass production, of new gadgets and new fashions. Radios, refrigerators, electric cleaners, washing machines, telephones, typewriters. And it was the era of the skyscrapers, mushrooming to house giant and expanding businesses. The American public was being pressurized to spend more and more in the shops.
There she is, there's what keeps me up at night. Oh, gee whiz, oh, gee.
A happier workforce and increased wages led to a new era in consumerism. Electricity was becoming prevalent in urban households. With new convenience came must-have items like refrigerators, toasters, irons, vacuum cleaners, and washing machines. Installment plans were created to make buying high-priced items more affordable. Instead of shelling out $100 for a new washing machine, consumers would put $5 down and pay $8 a month. The dangers of debt and high interest rates didn't enter the minds of most Americans, and shopping raged throughout the decade.
Modern advertising, as we know it today, began in the 1920s. Thanks to the invention of radio and film, advertising companies no longer had to rely on the printed page to get their message across. The capabilities of mass production required a similar rise in mass consumption. Goods now available to the market in greater numbers required even more buyers. Everything became a vehicle for advertising, from slick paper magazines, sports teams, newspapers, intermission time at the movies, and ever-constant commercials on the radio. The growing numbers of cars and improved quality of highways led to a boom in billboard advertising as well. Many advertisements use fear to sell. Medical terminology out of the dictionary turned bad breath into the much scarier halitosis. Many people scurried into stores looking for the tonic for the particular disease of the week. Other ads played upon insecurities, promising better looks or more glamour for users of particular products.
Some products were still too expensive for many people to buy. This was especially true of automobiles and other high-priced items. Therefore, a new method of purchasing was created. It became known as buying on installment or credit. A down payment would be made on the item, and the rest of the purchase price would be paid off over the course of the next several months, or even years. This led to millions of Americans facing large and unnecessary debts at the conclusion of the decade.